Jeez.
Yo,
Poppin'.
Knicks, bro. Knicks going crazy. Jalen Brunson,
Bro, the next one, bro.
45 points,
My
bro.
audio?
Huh?
Say something?
Hello?
Perfect.
You sound like a robot.
Uh-oh, that's bad.
Okay, I mean, you kind of don't. It's interesting, to say the least. I'll say that much. When was the last time you played this game?
Weeks, still. Those are good. That's 35, 60, 37, 52. Yeah, just keep it in Virginia and Dallas. Yeah, let's run it.
Trying to even leave Dallas, bro?
Dallas has 62, 60. But yeah, no, Northern Virginia is good.
You know how you feel about Wemby, bro?
Fuck that nigga, bro. What?
Like I was talking
What?
mad shit at the beginning of the last game, bro.
I'm not judging.
Generational crumble, bro.
Generational crumble, bro. Yeah, I've been knowing they were gonna turn on him. Like the whole world.
The whole
I've
world.
been knowing it. I knew the whole world was gonna turn on him.
Yo, you know, I never forgot the fact that he's from France, bro. I can't let that part go, you know.
Can't let it go.
Gotta hold him accountable for being from France, bro.
I'm going in.
Being French.
It's a crime, bro.
If I hear, bro.
I grew up without a community. Tiger Division has become my home.
Crime against humanity.
Oh,
Nah,
God.
I can't believe the next one, fam.
Dude, that last game was crazy comeback.
Yeah, that. Bro, I went to sleep, yo. I missed that shit. I literally saw them down like what? I forgot how much they were down by.
They were down by, they're about 27 and a half, and then I think I went to like go smoke or some shit. I don't even know what I meant to do that day. I came back and it was like down to like 15. I'm like, oh shit, and it was 15 for a while, and then I'm like, okay, I guess they're just gonna lose this game at 15. But then they super locked in, bro. Damn. And then De'Aaron Fox did some dumb shit. Wemby had like so many bricks. Bro, Dylan Harper, though, that guy's a dog.
Dylan Harper's sick. Yeah, they've been needed to trade Fox. I never understood that contract. Always pissed me off.
Fox is not that good, bro. It was kind of obvious on the Kings. On the Kings, it was kind of obvious that he wasn't like as good as he needed to be, though.
Yeah. Funny enough, Mike Brown called him out on it.
I know. I heard that shit. Called him out on that, like that one of the like times he got like, close to being fired or whatever. Come on. Yo, they got Thickety, bro. Get Tony, bro. Oh, left the team, bro.
It's not a comp though. Who cares? We'll get a replacement. How does this shorty work again?
Where the fuck are you, bro? How does this shorty work, bro? You use the beam, and the more you hit things with the beam, the number goes up, and the higher the number is, the more damage it does per second. And then if you change to your iron form, you can't get like moved, and you have like a grab that you can fucking stun people with. And also, when you're in the diamond form, your number doesn't go back down. We got an ad before the stream started. Let's go. That's what we want to see, bro. That's called a pre-roll. Mama, we made it. Used to pray for times like this. Yo. You get Amazon Prime shirt, though?
Yeah. Let me sub.
Yeah, give me that free sub, bro.
So how much what percentage
subscribe with Prime? Okay.
How much does what percentage do the mods get?
Percentage of the mods get.
What are the splits, bro?
Shit. We'll see, bro. We'll see. It's performance based. It's commission based. How many ever moderating actions you do that I agree with? Subathon when? Yo, low key.
Yeah, you gotta run a subathon
right now.
Every sub you add an hour.
I'm at 3 subs, bro.
3 hours stream?
3-hour stream right now. Isn't there a soccer game tonight? Isn't there a soccer game right now?
Bro, I'm not good with her.
We want Cyclops gameplay? Oh, we already got Pop Up Motion got the Cyclops on our team, unfortunately. Yo, Dark Tomb sucks, bro. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy boy. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Go handle that, please. Bro. Somebody do something.
I need heals, bro.
Bro.
Where are you guys?
I'm trying. Oh, you walked away from my heals, bro.
Oh, my fault. I didn't figure it.
That's a tough one.
Someone else can be portal, man. I got ult. Dark Tomb stinks.
I don't even think we have time for Portal Man, to be honest, bro.
Yeah, if I was locked in, I could've.
Alright. Let me get off this character real quick. Actually, no, our DPS just freaking stink, bro.
My senses are sharp, and my claws
We need a
are
real
ready.
teammate.
Agent F1. I'm going in.
I do the right thing unless the wrong thing
30
is
seconds
more
before you
fun.
attack. Get ready.
Alright, time to take this seriously.
Oh, what the fuck? I didn't even know I could do that.
We lost just for. You forgot you could do what, bro? You didn't know you could do what, bro?
I pressed the button and this only. I can't do it anymore. I think it was a team up.
Oh yeah, with Luna? Yeah. It's gone now.
Yeah.
Battle starts in 5, 4,
We have 4 teammates.
3,
Okay, never mind.
2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area.
Somebody.
Got it?
A shield? I like hanging around Groot because he gets me. Relay deployed. It ain't cheap.
Because we started off so well.
Yeah. We're like the Spurs, bro. Somebody gotta deal with this Angela. Oh, somebody gotta deal with this Human Torch, bro. Oh. Yikes. I'm the only
Bro,
support?
where's all the healers? Oh, you're the only support? Oh my gosh, bro.
Bro, look at what's happening in spawn, bro.
Capture the mission
Ah, fuck this, man.
Bro, look at what's happening in spawn, bro.
Some revenge.
No one's playing? Are they lagging?
Force boost.
Well, I think.
Bro, what am I looking at?
Armored up. Relay deployed.
Oh, okay, I guess they disconnected, bro.
I'll patch you up.
You know, all things considered, they're only at 20%, you know? Where the fuck are you?
More bad guys.
Okay.
Just what we need.
Oh, you're dead. Can we not have that happen? Oh.
Look at our bodies, though.
Your team's capture progress has passed the halfway point.
Yeah, just nest gone. Stay over there. Yo, no way, the same guy joined back, bro. This guy freaking sucks.
Not
Maybe-
Dark Tomb, bro.
Not anybody but Dark Tomb, bro.
Ah, you ain't got That's right.
No, I'm gonna die.
Thing is mine.
Fuck.
Yeah, I'm sorry, bro.
Oh, I'm ace? I'm sick.
This is a nice spot.
I'm not washed.
You're ready.
I think they're everybody else in this team is bot.
That's me.
Yo, tell me if there's a lot of people on there. Now we're getting bodies.
A shield? Well, okay. Don't bite me. I'm just dying. Grace us with victory.
Bro, how is this guy?
Patch you up.
What the fuck? How did it land there, bro?
You've captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going.
Us against the world.
It's Spider Time!
This is real firepower.
Oh,
Team play. That's me. Go down. That fucking hurt.
The area's almost yours.
good job, guys.
Cooking them. Y'all are gonna get Jeff gameplay and you're gonna enjoy it.
You're welcome.
This your Jeff gameplay? This is my Rocket gameplay.
What the fuck was that?
That's Cyclops' ult, bro.
Nowhere yet. Going to overtime.
Supernova.
Oh, okay.
I got 3 of them. Oh,
Oh,
fuck. I sold. That might have been my fault.
It's not over. They're only at 60.
Bro, I thought I ate. That supernova fucked me, man.
Yeah, apparently fire beats water, bro.
It's ridiculous. Who's over there?
I am fireman. I am fireman.
They've almost got it.
Alright, guys.
You're ready for action.
What?
Someone scratch my back. Relay deployed. It ain't cheap.
You gotta move. You gotta move. Okay.
Nowhere
Solid double ult. Indy's dead, but I died in the process. You can hold it down, right?
Here comes Rocket again. Relay deployed. It ain't cheap.
Who's shooting me?
Oh,
I'll patch you up. Us against the world.
what's this thing?
This is a nice spot.
Get back on them, Amanda.
I'm on it, I'm on it, I'm on it. I almost have all. Where the fuck is my team? I need people to heal. Oh, fuck.
This is real fire.
I got Penny.
Go, 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 go,
I got
go, go,
Penny.
go, go, go,
And
go, go,
Coke.
go, go, go.
Yes.
Holy fuck, dude.
Fuck.
Need a redemption.
That was a battle game. Oh.
Some of my best friends are crooks and villains.
I'm counting on you.
Beautiful. Look at that, bro. They're complimenting you.
What did he say? Who
Just
complimented?
said, just said beautiful, actually. Nothing specific.
30
Oh,
seconds before
that doesn't mean me.
Peak cinema.
I think there's just like everyone.
I'm impressed, kid. That's some serious tech you're wearing there.
It's more than just a suit of armor. Spider's my partner.
Oh, damn.
Kinda like your
What's up?
tree.
That tree is a Flora Colossus, and his name is Groot.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3,
Yeah, Dark Chumi's locked in, bro.
1.
Actually,
All you need to
I
do
think Dark Shroom was lagging.
Yeah, he was walking in the spawn, bro. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how he
maybe just not us.
You're ready for action.
Oh fuck.
Down. That fucking hurt. See?
Oh, they're after me. Oh, they got me. Back those.
area is yours to capture now.
Good. Oh shit.
Bro,
Oh,
they got me again.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Bro, they are after us. They got 3 DPS? Oh no, they don't. No, they do.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. How are they doing so much damage? Is that Deadpool? That's Deadpool, huh?
That's support pool, yeah.
Oh, damn. Bro,
Bro, he's jumping on my fucking head, bro. Oh my god.
we won the fight. We won the fight. We won the fight.
It just cooked me, bro.
You want me back? I've got yours.
Launch it again.
Control seized.
I'll patch you up.
What the fuck? OMG, I'm watching ads now. Yeah, bro, we're up. We're so up. It's actually ridiculous. Oh fuck. Live portal. I'm getting chased. He's on my ass. Thank you. Oh hell no.
They're pushing us back, bro.
Guys. Please tell me you live. Dark Choom, please, Dark Choom. Holy fuck, dude. Angela is cooking me, bro.
Bro, what are we doing? I'm gonna have to pull out big dogs, bro.
Hold up, wait a minute. Get it how you live it?
Did they nerf Cloak and Dagger by any chance?
No, they actually buffed her.
Oh, left. Can't believe niggas making me do this.
Armor packed here. Pay up.
I think that's a bad placement here.
This is real firepower. Team play. You're ready for action.
Control seized.
He's half, he's low. Thank you.
More bad guys. Just what we need. I'll patch you up. Optic Fury!
You've captured more.
Damn, you can block that?
Oh! I'm back.
Armored up. Boom! No skill shot. You're ready for action.
Somebody gotta kill this Angela, bro. Holy.
Oh, what is that damage, bro? What the fuck?
Oh, fuck. That's what it is. I'm so cooked. I'm so cooked.
Is it Portal Man? Portal Man? Oh, someone's already. Someone beat me to it.
Portal man.
Who's Portal? Hurry up, bro. Hurry up, bro.
Go, go,
Hurry
go,
up,
go,
bro.
go, 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 go.
Come on, bro. Hurry up, bro. Come on, bro. Go, go.
You're welcome.
No winner yet. Going to overtime.
Us against the world.
Oh,
Oh,
fuck.
I'm almost there. I'm almost there. I'm dead. I'm dead. No, I'm not.
I'm trying.
No!
I'm getting my ass beat,
I'm reviving.
bro.
I'm reviving.
I'm getting my
Reviving.
ass beat, bro. You're gonna get your ass beat immediately, bro. Live. Oh, you have your ult. Thank God. Oh, thank God. No. Damn. That was a rough one.
Fuck, bro. Was I better as the shark? I don't know.
I don't know. It's a tough call.
Expect to win them all.
Yeah, I'm just gonna blame that first round on our loss.
Yeah, the first round was bad. But our team was like, didn't know what we were doing.
That's straight bullshit. That's a bit SVP from you too.
I lost SVP. I think I lost SVP when I switched, though.
I think you got SVP when you switched off Emma to Shark, to be honest, too.
Fair enough. But we needed another heal.
I know. I mean, we lost like half our team at that point, bro.
Pick your hero. Or villain. I'm not judging.
Alright. They're saying they want Cyclops gameplay.
In my sight.
We're getting some Cyclops gameplay. Am I good with this character? No. Only played enough to get the achievements. I don't even know if Sabo's still here, bro. I doubt it.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
The Wolverine team up. Oh, we got the Widow on our team, bro. What's going on here? Guys, I picked Widow because I took Cyclops from him. Is that what's happening? This isn't even competitive. Yeah, they got Kid Strange on their team, bro. What do you think about that?
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2.
They have Kid Strange?
Yeah.
All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Waste, man.
Stand back and let the White Queen show you how it's done.
Devil.
I knew I saw trouble.
We have a Loki.
Oh, buddy. I'm dead. Kid Strange cooked me. And by cooked me, I mean he got the final hit on me.
Bro, what the fuck is happening?
What's happening is I need to remember how to play this fucking character real quick.
Well, then didn't the character just come out?
Yeah, but I was like playing him a couple days ago, you know, when he came out. And by a couple days ago, I mean yesterday.
I don't give up quite that easy. Force boost.
Okay, bonus health. That one. Okay. Okay, I'm ready. The problem is my aim is not good. Oh, I fucking backed up into a wall, bro. What the fuck happened to me? Oh, shit.
Their team's capture progress has passed the halfway point.
Bro, if only I could aim. Holy. Be a different story.
Bro, someone kill this person.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm playing like ass.
You're the reason?
I don't know if I'm the reason, but
I mean, we're putting pressure right now.
ah, damn, I died.
Well,
I'm 0-4, bro.
yeah, you might be the reason. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they're fucking guys cooking you.
Propulsion beam.
Kid Strange? Hey.
Yeah, he might be him, bro.
Enjoy the amplifier.
We are undefeatable.
Don't worry. Oh, I'm about to do it. I'm about to help the team.
I am finished. You've captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going.
Damn. Oh, I'm just pressing buttons. I am dead. That's just pressing buttons.
Don't die. Don't die.
Here is almost yours.
What the fuck is going on, bro?
Alright. Okay. Don't. Okay. Wait. Hold on. Hold on. Oh.
No! How did he get me?
Control lost.
How many? Okay, I need you to scout. How many of them are on point?
Like 3 of them at most.
Should I alt?
Yeah, I can dive in there. I mean, yeah, just go for it, honestly.
They've almost got it.
Hawk saved them.
Oh, that's embarrassing. That's a tough one, bro.
By the eye of Agamotto,
Damn!
Chance.
I'm opening a portal. A shortcut through space.
Damn, nobody wanted to touch the point?
Oh.
That's a rough one.
Open your eyes.
Why did it purple support, bro?
Reality is but an illusion.
Let me go big pun on them.
And wrong is wrong.
I'm not
30 seconds before you attack.
punch.
Get ready.
Or whatever the fuck he says.
We'll need to act fast to win this
Whatever
battle.
the fuck he's saying.
Angela, I need you to.
Where I hail from, men are not but humble servants. I would never take orders from them.
But I've been leading tactical strike teams since I was 15.
And I have been slain.
The battle starts in 5,
4, 3, 2, 1.
All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
The Dunes may have unleashed this madness, but it's up to us to make things right again. Battlefield ready again.
What the fuck? What the oh, what the fuck is happening, bro?
Area is yours to capture now.
Genuinely, what the fuck is happening?
Capture the mission area.
Smoke screen.
Uh-oh.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's not good. Okay, let me play it real quick here.
People want to be led, I want to be in charge. Win-win. That put a spring in their step. Powering up. Rockets, fire.
How many Hawks not around though?
I have no idea. The wall just came back.
I got no one. I got nobody. I got
Yo.
nobody again. Fuck, I can't do this shit. Where's my
I mean, maybe the shark isn't to play with the Hulk, bro.
Oh, Angela's going crazy. What fucking kill Bobo. I'm not playing healer again.
I am ready to put on a show.
I'm out of here. I'm dead.
I'm back.
Imagine getting meleeed by Iron Man.
You melee someone that's Iron Man? That's
I
crazy.
meleeed Doctor Strange as Iron Man.
Keep going.
That's kind of not.
think they're portaling. Where that is? Oh, there it is. Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, what? Was that diversion?
We have it and we have to keep it.
That's a crazy tactic, bro.
Maximum pulse! Pulse cannons and arguments. Too sweet.
We are undefeatable!
Look out below. Eldritch shield, sure.
No winner yet. Going to overtime.
I got my ass beat. We're gonna keep playing this longer.
No way! No way! Fuck! You got 3 of us.
It's not over. It's not over. It's not over.
Put it pressure. Don't let them get it. Don't let them get it.
No.
Fuck that.
No. Boom is back. Maybe portal? Okay.
Here comes trouble. I count a few too many of them. Your team's capture progress has
I'm done.
I do the right
That portal
thing
might have been a
unless
waste.
the wrong
I can't switch to Rocky.
I'm Rocket.
Oh. Oh, well, 3 healers now then.
Get my ass beat again. Once again. Once again, I'm back again.
You ain't got rid of me yet.
Holy fuck.
You're ready for action.
Please do not get your ass beat. Last thing I want to see is my team get my ass beat. My ass beat or ass beat.
Follow the enemy. I'll patch you up. Good.
Please, please, somebody.
Going to overtime.
Yeah, it's GG, bro. Fuck this, yeah.
It's not GG's. It's not GG's. It's not GG's.
This is
Anything is possible. Oh fuck, never mind. It's GG's. Oh, it's not GG's. It's not GG's. Anything's possible. It's not GG's.
you're ready for action.
Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Oh fuck.
We are
Oh fuck.
No one's touching it.
Yeah, I had to run. We need more damage, bro. It's over. What are we talking about?
well, you can't expect to win them all.
Anthony Mackie.
Hmm?
That's crazy.
Anthony Mackie.
Yeah, my friend saw Anthony Mackie just now.
That's crazy, bro.
What the fuck?
What's Anthony Mackie up to right now, bro? What's up, guys? I'm Tupac.
The right heroes could make all the difference.
Hello, yellow.
Agent F1. I'm going in.
I am beyond my pitiful creator. I am beyond everyone.
Look at us. 3 team ups. Surely we win this, right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
The guy's nerfed, bro. Brother, what you don't understand is I was
Ultron's
sick with
there?
Ultron when he only had one drone, bro. You don't understand the things I've been through as an Ultron player.
A lot of cards ready. Looks like we're gonna. No need to fret. Gambit always come prepared. Good.
You don't know me, bro. And honestly, only his healing got nerfed, bro. Not his damage.
And I suppose it's a good thing you got too.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have to stop them from securing the mission area.
Perfection.
Someone picked a cop. But with the wrong
Showed up.
Go, my children. This is my unnatural selection. Embrace perfection. There's power in awareness. Make yourself useful.
Oh, Cyclops. What are you doing, man? Wolverine, buddy, what are you doing, man? Oh, I forgot I had to come up. That's my fault. That's my fault.
Oh, they're trying to kill me.
They're
They're focusing us, bro. We're dying, bro.
we? Did you just come to me with your
Not
problems, bro? I wasn't dying until you showed up, bro.
My tank is gone, bro. Jeez.
Yeah, back up. Wolverine's about to get himself slapped the fuck up, bro.
That should make it.
Oh, help him, Cyclops. Oh, you fucker. Give me the drone. Okay. Don't worry. Oh, hell no.
Invisible Woman's one shot. Got her. Oh, we're cooking.
Oh, try this nerf. They didn't nerf Matt.
Oh, invisible. Go to the
Find her?
bitch.
Played
I
rank
found
today,
it.
went up from gold 3 to plat 3 in one go. Might do the same for diamond tomorrow or something. Gotta be. Once you get diamond, we'll play together.
Damn, got blocked. That's embarrassing.
Oh, good shit, Cyclops. Go get this Iron Fist, bro.
Who the fuck is he?
He's running, bro. Oh, hell no. The fuck? The fuck happened? How did you get there, bro? Guys?
They're hunting me, bro.
Or they're hunting you. They're hunting me, bro. I'm dead.
I'm dead too. We were cooking though.
Yeah.
New physical chassis
Hopefully our team can hold it down.
Did I portal man?
Uh,
I think they're good.
Nah.
No, they're not. Gonna...
I mean, they don't have that point. They don't have the point at all. I don't know why he's running. Oh, they started camping it now.
Get on, someone touch, bro. Someone touch.
I'm gonna go, but if I go, I'm gonna die, bro.
Go. For a second, just for a second. Slow down. Are you dead already?
No, I'm still alive.
Oh,
I'm dead.
yes.
I'm dead
Get
now.
on time.
I'm dead now.
Oh, they double ulted.
Okay. We don't have any supports alive. I'm about to be back.
Wow.
Oh,
I mean,
we lost it.
they
We
used
lost it.
3 ults, bro.
We lost it. I spawned into the next one. Came and take the
Yeah.
portal. That's rough.
They used 3 ults for that, so. Was it worth it? I don't know.
I don't know. They
I don't
got 3
think it was
minutes.
worth
They got
it.
3 minutes and 30 seconds.
We can That's not that much time.
I mean, it depends. Someone's coming around, bro. Hit it with the beams. Hit it with the beams. It's the beam team.
Yo, fucking get this guy, bro.
Which guy,
Thank
bro?
you.
Okay, you got it. You
Iron
got it.
Fist. I'm still dying. Oh my gosh. Fucking dinosaur.
Oh, fuck it. Iron Fist back.
Iron Fist is coming
back.
for me. He's coming for me.
He's running away, bro. Bro, moments. Nice. Nice. Okay, I don't know if that was necessary. I feel like we could have got him, but yeah, okay. We have a BD now. Magic is my strongest character, but I put beams on my back when I play Jeffro. I mean, that's what a strategist does, bro. Oh, okay. I'm so happy they removed the motherfuckers knocked down on the dino beams. Yeah, honestly. So, but I don't know if that works, man. Get in there, bro.
He's gonna ult soon too.
Who?
Magic. Oh, maybe not.
We got 1 minute and 10. We have a squirrel girl now. Oh, there's that one.
One shot.
Probably close, dude. That's too much. That's too much. Maz add Liam Payne, bro. What drops? Yo, that's jokes. Because he fell off. Guys. Can we like off balance? Yeah, maybe.
There's still a chance to stop them.
What the fuck are you?
Damn, they blocked my shit.
Don't worry. I'm here. Get off the point, buddy. Get off the point, buddy. Oh, they're coming back.
Going to overtime.
Holy fuck, Wolverine, please.
About to die. Damn, they got me.
Damn. They're getting everybody. I tried to save you. I really couldn't.
That's fine.
If I could aim, this would be better.
Oh my gosh.
Bro, they're so... Somebody kill this.
Oh, squirrel girl got me?
Oh, the squirrels got you after she died, bro?
That's embarrassing. We should be winning this, no? Oh, no, they're getting bodied. No, we're winning.
No, because it's because Magic just called me. Because we just off it now. Can you kill somebody, please? How are they not? How are these people not dead? No, genuinely, how did these people not die? That's actually embarrassing.
Bro, I've died like 4 times in the last 30 seconds.
What? There's no way.
They got it. That's incredible.
Yeah,
Am I selling? I don't think I'm selling.
I don't know. We were doing some. We were playing like ass just there. That was crazy.
We couldn't. Yeah, we couldn't get the finish. I started. It was like 4v2 like bare times.
It was the magic and the rocket, and then the magic ulted, and then the rocket ulted, and then they forward ulted. And they're just running around the point in circles. And I was trying to break the beacon, and I was like fucking. The Cyclops not human dying to a Wolverine, bro. A Wolverine's kind of alt maxing only, bro. That's the only time he's getting kills is on the alt. What the fuck, yo,
Like when it's not crunch time, it's fine. It's only when it's crunch time.
bro.
Like look how comfortable you are right now.
Only 60 seconds left.
Bro, you guys are deep. You guys are deep, bro. Doing too much. Doing way too much. It was close. It was close.
I should.
I mean, if you went a little bit further, then yeah.
Yeah.
You would have got a couple bodies with that one. They're coming around. They're coming around.
Magic's.
Bro, somebody fucking Scarlet, bro. Oh my god. My beams are not strong enough. I got outbeamed.
Bro, Magic faced me.
Bro, 10 seconds, bro. 10 seconds, bro. Fuck. I can't see a soul. Fuck.
No winner yet. Going to overtime.
No rocket. Fuck. That's even worse, actually. Rocket needs to die, bro. Somebody please kill Rocket. I can't hit him. He's too fucking fast. I'm breaking the beacon. The beacon's gone.
Us against the world.
Bro, please. Bro, how? Bro, no. Bro, no. That's playing Dive Cyclops like it's Marvel vs. Capcom. He's doing something. I don't know what he's doing. That was an abomination, bro. They used both alts. Y'all got it? I hope. Where the fuck is my Iron Man? Get back here. Please kill someone. Nice. Close range. Nice. Kill one. Nice. Oh, fuck your magic, bro, please. Jesus Christ. Damn it, aim. Type shit, bro. No aim assist, though, unfortunately. Wolverine locked in at the end. That's like fuck sucks. I've never not killed 3 people in that ult. Yeah. I don't know what he's cooking. 18 final hits, but I don't know. Their Magic played like 4 characters. Yo, Saul, when you hopping on the game, bro? When you playing Cyclops like it was foretold, bro?
Damn, when we crashing out?
Tuesday evening? When we crashing on what? Where is this Wemby crash?
Crash out to the media,
Right
the
here
press.
could make all the
Well, not
difference.
really. It's not really a crash out. You basically, yeah, this is embarrassing stuff.
See y'all never, bro. This guy's so fucking. That's actually cringe, bro. That's cringy, bro.
Yeah, it was bad. Bad, bad.
Tuesday evening, bro. Tuesday evening, bro.
They'll be coming in 30 seconds. Stay strong.
I mean, Loki,
Are you all planning another
like
hellfire
Wemby should have had a
by
couple
any
texts,
chance?
more texts than he got.
Yeah. Damn, the nigga, everyone turned on Wemby so quickly. This is so crazy.
Bro, he was talking shit, bro, and he couldn't back it.
He could not back
We lost a 29-point lead, bro.
The battle starts
in the finals. That's so crazy.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Like, when we not trying to be like the villain or some shit, bro? He was like up 29 in their like home territory, bro. Oh shit! Oh shit! Netty needs to work on the team ups. Bro, Netty needs to fucking. Sorry, someone's name was Luna's feet on our team. It threw me off, bro.
Holy fuck! What the fuck was that?
Halfway! Stop them!
How's he? He never died?
I guess not. I didn't spell Luna right? Yeah, 'cause the other one was taken probably. The real one is taken. Oh, you fucker. I hate Hulk. I'm so cooked. I'm so cooked. They're 3 DPS, man. Why do we have 3 DPS? Okay, I can't be the only tank like this. I need to lock in. Net and these Yahoo caring about the game. Next joke, please.
Stop them.
Damn, he using even the real feet? Nah, he's like some imposter. Holy shit, dude.
Better stop that vehicle.
How did you
No
live that?
way!
Bro, chill. Bro, chill. Gangalang. Gangalang. Cap is the
someone
worst
stole my
take in the
MVP.
history. Nah, bro. Cap is good, man. Cap is good, bro. Do your teammates know how to play around Cap? That's a separate question. And that answer is a definitive no. Because you're in like gold, bro.
No way!
Brother. Oh, hell no.
Behold the god of thunder! None can withstand my lightning.
Double KO.
Bozo.
You got them all.
I checked, I'm gold 2, where we line up with 4 DPS and 1 tank. Yeah, 4 DPS, 1 tank, 1 support, and the support doesn't have a actual like support all. It's like fucking some bullshit.
Battle fury burns.
That's exactly the type of comp to be running in gold 2, bro. Especially when there's a new hero drop, bro. Oh yeah, motherfuckers throwing if they don't get Cyclops. We have 3 DPS throwing because they didn't get Cyclops. And not all of them can be Widow. These guys forget they don't have the point. Fuck idiot.
No, we got the ace. We're sick.
But we better be. I switched my main character because I had to solo tank.
My fault.
No, it's okay. I'll switch to the Strange if I die. So we get team ups.
Calm.
I cracked the code. Tank pool, Venom cap. Dude, tank pool Venom Cap is a honestly any Deadpool that's good enough to like stay alive. But this pool can do a lot if they're good. That pool, you know, you're healing properly. Are those like the 3 characters you play, bro? And then Bucky. Oh,
No.
hell no. Did you live?
Yeah. I only ever got one for whatever reason.
Because they're running, bro. I will never play support. Hashtag no eloflation. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you can just play DPS support character, bro. It's not against the rules.
Damn. Smart.
Where the fuck are you, bro? Fine. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Stay away from my support. Yeah. Yeah. Funny if you showed us a blueprint for affiliate. Gotta lock in now. Yo, the blueprint, bro. Jay-Z. Got the same birthday. Oh shit. Oh shit. Rock Nation affiliation, bro. What the fuck? I thought I hit that like 3 times. We about working overtime? Yo, don't leak the secrets, bro.
Only 60 seconds left.
Like, God forbid I have organic viewers, bro. Like, actually, no, God forbid it, I think. Guys, can we not die for that? That'd be fantastic. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, I might be dead here.
There's still a chance to stop them.
I might be dead here.
Disappear!
Opening a portal.
The perfect hex!
A shortcut through space.
Only one every time. No, not like this. Oh. Okay, we won. It's going on point.
Let's go.
Another epic victory. Big win.
Madmoon. Light work, no reaction.
Yo, don't queue up. I'll be right back.
Okay, I will also be right back in that case. If anybody wants to join now, you can. What's the chat feeling? How is the chat doing? Who's in the chat still? These are the questions. That's what we like to see. Real fans. Sir, are you back? No, I'm gonna start collecting things. Rewards. Events. Events. Congratulations. When's the next 6v6, bro? Bro, when's the last time Emmett played this game, bro? Where's a man like Cairo at? This guy? Bro, this guy's down here with the likes of freaking Volume Page and Muzzy Moose, bro. This shit, this guy's done for, bro. Tenth line killer, bro. This guy's also MIA, bro. Last time played April 23rd, bro. Actually, tough one, bro. That's tough, bro. Fucking Steven changed his name to Rasta Pad Thai, bro. Bro, look at this guy. Combat history blocked, bro. Emmett hiding his stats so we can't check his 19% accuracy on Bucky, bro. Bro, this guy's actually a fraudulent player, bro. We gotta do customs on God. Yo, Sen, bro, we might have to recruit you, bro. We got that's a real Magic player, bro. Whatever Emmett's cooking, bro, we got a real one, bro. Kakazu up too, bro. Shit, that was recently. Quick match warrior, bro. Oh shit, I was here. I was here for that. Oh fuck. Ethical magic, not a last hit merchant. Yeah, Sen's an ethical magic, bro. He is not a last hit merchant. Do I have my stuff in it? Where's Nah, bro. We got the stats right here. 60% win on magic. The all-time statistic. Let's see, average 29, basically 20 per 10. Okay. No assists, we don't need that on magic. Final hits, okay, it's a little bit more than half. We count those, When is this sub-only Discord dropping? Oh, whoa, come on, bro. We got 3 people. We got 3 people and we're all already in a Discord together. Probably multiple at this point. Solo kills 4.42. I mean 4.2. Okay. How do we feel about these stats? If only we could compare it to Emmett, bro. Now, this is in 30 hours of gameplay, bro. What's the competitive stats saying? Are they better? There's, they're a little worse, but that's the nature of the pressure, nature of the having to not play the whole time. Understandable. Emmett Verma, fraud Mitt Verma, bro. Shake my head. There's about like amen, so bro. Sorry, stat watching right now. Emmett got this shit private, bro. For your highest Prime Master Blue. It's the equivalent of plus in higher elo, plus not on console. Yeah. Basically. Did anyone ever touch Grandmaster? Does anybody have that information?
No clue.
I'm assuming he's still blocked in the tracker too, right? Because he's a fucking fraud. Like season 0, and there's no way he even played that much in season 0, bro. How the fuck do you spell this guy's name, bro? Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, okay.
Are you ready to
I
play?
think I got one more game in me.
Okay.
The AC in my house is not working, so my room is so hot. So I'm
Oh,
off.
it's like
Get off after
just
this.
like that one, huh?
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro.
I don't know. I don't know. They got some shit where like AC like tones down at nighttime. Like I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I guess because it's colder outside. I don't know.
Yeah.
Pick your hero.
Tell Moon Scoopy we're
Or
collabing,
I'm not judging.
bro. Get affiliated and tell her yourself, bro. I know you're in the Discord already.
Oh, pick me, please.
Hashtag Love Island. Hashtag watch along. I don't know why I added the second hashtag. Is that what she's doing, bro? She's doing a Love Island watch along on Twitch.
I'm on that. Tell her to get me
Her
on.
bot broke and it's just her one sim sending out the live alert in the Discord. No way, dude. What do you mean one sim, bro? I know she got more than one sim.
Wow! Did you build this armor all by yourself, girl? No, my father built the spider suit. I just piloted. Don't say just.
Yo, Sabri, did she ever follow you back on IG, bro?
Can't be easy. Probably about the same as the 3-ton dinosaur in chest.
The main one, you know him? Yeah, okay, I know the main one, yeah.
3,
You can't just say the one sim, bro.
all you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
As long as we stay.
I swear, last time I checked, she was playing like Jackbox.
Knew I saw trouble.
Venom. Bro.
Capture the mission area.
Okay, that's one healer down.
Bro, why is it always triple DPS?
No, don't we have 2 tanks?
No, damn.
Oh.
Yo, guys.
How did we lose that, bro? I don't
Yo,
understand
guys.
how we lost that.
This bro is doing a lot of damage. Okay. You know what?
Damn.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Oh, everyone's dead.
Their team's capture progress has passed the halfway point.
Someone buy this, go.
The squirrel girl battle, bro. Oh, hell no. What the fuck happened there?
Us against the world.
Oh, hell no. Looks like we're going to work. To the left. Can I hit anything? Oh shit, maybe I can.
I'm about to die again,
This
bro.
floating
I'm
shit
just,
is
what,
not
am I
helping my
just...
aim. Yo, nobody watched that. Nobody watched what just happened in the last like 25 sequences of seconds. Who's opening a portal? We're opening a portal? Yo, open that portal. I'm ready. I'm ready. Oh, they're not even here, bro. They're not ready.
No winner yet. Going to overtime.
That better be our friends.
That's our friends. That's our friends. That's our friends.
Okay.
Are they doing anything? I
Perhaps
don't know.
that
But
wasn't
they're
our
scaring
friends. I don't
them.
think
I'll
they
say
are.
that much.
You got the point.
We'll call it a zoning alt.
Advantage gained in the material plane.
They lost a teammate or something, or switching characters or something. Oh, I'm ass. What am I doing, bro? My fucking mouse is stuck.
There's a Venom
Goddamn.
somewhere here.
We are undefeatable.
Can you not be undefeatable, bro?
Oh, there he is.
Okay. Okay. Do they have on their team?
That's.
I thought
Alright, healer dead.
one of them is dead. The other one's fighting for their fucking life, I think.
I'm fighting for my fucking life.
Venom's back here still. They're opening a portal. They opened the portal.
Strange, how did you
Got
miss that
there,
single
healer.
shot, dude? Please tell me.
Why they mad at you, bro? Did you fuck up real bad?
Mad at me.
It's strange. How did you mess up every shot?
I did mess up. I messed up a lot of shots.
Oh, well, they're talking about you then, for sure. Confirmed it.
Where's the healers, bro? What? I haven't been healed in so long.
I think they're getting killed. If I was to guess.
Healer's dead. Strange dead. Venom.
Venom.
Oh, fuck. Venom.
Don't get out beamed, Cyclops. Don't get out beamed.
Venom's dead.
Us against the world.
Up top, up top. Didn't even make it.
No winner yet. Going to overtime.
Focus on her.
There's 3 people there, bro.
That's 2 dead. Down.
That's 3. You got them all.
Yeah, that's it. You see what I'm doing? I'm
Iron Man
whipping
had
him.
the
Yo,
OG beam.
yo.
Iron Man.
Yo.
Yeah, Iron Man got the OG beam, bro. OG beam and
Bro,
Johnson.
the AC isn't working, bro. There's no air blowing out. I'm actually quite tight.
If I'm not joking about something, you know I'm
You have,
not
like, a
taking it
fan, bro?
seriously.
Yeah, somewhere. I don't want to plug it in right now, though. You want to sleep with the fan?
Huh?
30
Is that shit
seconds before
dangerous?
you attack.
No.
Get ready.
How would that be dangerous?
No? I don't know.
What do you think it's gonna do, bro?
Or no, the heater. No, you got like a space heater?
Bring back Gamma for real, bro? If they bring back Gamma, it's over, dude. Hulk
Oh,
getting permabanned
jeez,
again.
yeah. Hulk Strange, yeah.
Even the squids, bro.
Legendary team
Battle
ups.
starts in 5,
Unless they rework team ups entirely, bro.
2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
When T'Challa goes to the
They should do it with all 4 of them, though. And then they gotta remove bans.
Yo, I'm getting cooked by Spider-Man. Never mind.
The mission area is yours to capture now.
They don't know about me, bro. They don't know about me, bro. Oh, damn. They got me.
That's fine. Got the point. Got to emo one time.
I'm gonna tell you one time.
Powering up.
Yes, sir, we gotta cook up some stuff for, you know, now that I have bits and stuff, you know, I gotta like cook up some like rewards and stuff. For
Really?
to like, you know, entice people to buy and spend, you know.
So give me like, what are examples of rewards? I don't even know. I'm not really
I
like.
mean, it'd be like, yo, you could like pick a game or like, you know, some shit like that. Fucking make me play rank. I don't know.
Captured more than half of the
Fucking make
mission
me pick a
area. Keep
character.
going.
Anyone say fireworks?
Who knows, bro? That's what we need to cook up. Throw it back, redeem? Yeah, I don't know about throw it back. Might be a lot of bits for that one.
Oh, their magic's going crazy. What the fuck?
Magic's 5 and 3.
Oh no, but she just got 3 kills.
She was 2 and 3 before that.
Powering up.
Maybe.
Alright, can you not Wolverine? Can you not do that? How, bro? Where, bro? How, bro? Where, bro? Oh, you're just standing there the whole time. I forgot he had a ricochet abilities. Uh-oh.
Crazy.
I fucked with the beams.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up?
Let's cook something. Let's
Where the
collab
fuck is the
on this
magic,
ult.
Yeah, what did you have in mind, bro?
Wait for my timing, bro.
I'm getting touched, bro. I'm dead. Magic got me from behind. Are you hiding? Okay.
I'm back.
Is this like a trap or something? Or are you trying to like wait for them to come all the way over here or something? Oh, okay. How'd that work out for you exactly?
Pretty interesting, actually. Damn!
Okay.
Right when I was about to ult on her. Yeah, we need a. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm simply trying not to get absolutely cooked, bro. I'm gonna get cooked, bro. Can you heal me, bro? Bro, please. Bro, please.
Oh, you won the point. It's fine.
Beam, hit him with the beams.
Oh, watch out for her, bro. Where is she?
Oh, she got her Loki, bro. Holy
oh my
fuck, she's
god.
so fast. Why is she so fast, bro? Who the fuck is Squirrel Girl? Magic fell, magic. Oh, never mind. She's back. She's back. She's back. She's back. Don't die. Where's Squirrel Girl?
I'm about to die. I need heals. No. Okay.
It's in the hole.
Staffide's
I'm
gone.
dead.
I need heals, bro. Fuck.
They're almost back. Oh, you're dead.
Too
Oh,
late.
we don't have a portal. Fuck.
Yeah, someone wasted that shit.
Ah.
We lost
Venom.
this.
Oh no, Venom.
Just get on point, bro.
I died. W motion? There's no W motion, bro. You came in a bad time. I can't lie to you. Let's talk about the freaking fact that I have ads now. That's W motion for sure. So much motion. Freaking local motion, bro.
If you were as smart as me, you'd be arrogant too.
Alright, what do we need to adjust here? Magic stop the motion with 2 support kills? Yeah.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Don't worry, I'm locked in now. Ignore the freaking Wi-Fi symbols on the side of my screen.
Neither do your X-Men, Cyclops.
Fair point, White Fox.
Yeah, I'm gonna stream it. Yo. Arjun is.
So let's focus on the mission.
Huh?
Yo, Manu, you can hear that?
No,
The battle starts in 5.
I can't hear that.
3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area.
Arjun's fucking live in New York right now.
Oh, where? On what?
No, like he's FaceTiming me.
FaceTiming? Yeah.
Yo, Arjun, FaceTime in here, bro. Alright, you can't even FaceTime him, huh? Oh, we're all rivals. That's last game stuff.
Oh,
Easy, bro.
my
Enjoy your
god.
day. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's probably lit in New York, bro.
Hello.
I'm surprised you only got one person. Alright, it's time to lock in for real. Loki, you're gonna heal me or what? Oh, buddy, that's a lot of people. Where the fuck? No, she's too fast. She's too fast.
How am I dead already,
Loki,
fam?
please. Loki, please.
Loki stole my ult for what?
Loki stole your ult for. Oh, I thought he took a fucking real one, bro.
Yeah, I gotta.
Uh
You can't even get
oh.
out.
Uh
I think we need a
oh.
second tank, Mandem. The fuck?
Khonshu has guided me this far. I trust him. Love Battlefield.
Your team's caster smuggler has passed the halfway point.
I unleash the Vishanti's power.
Behold, that child! Thank you very much.
The power of the moon.
1 point for the international super spy.
Jesus Christ.
We bring bare ults for that though.
Didn't MK get nerfed? Why is he still being banned every time he ranked? Just because he's annoying,
Doing
bro.
shitty ass ranks, bro.
This is annoying, I guess.
Nigga, don't talk, bro. Don't comment about shit if you're in a gold lobby, bro. Please.
Need assistance. Attack them. Go.
Our enemies are near.
Subhuman.
Oh, I didn't mean to press that button, Loki. Oh, fuck. I meant to press F.
Oh my goodness. Alright.
Rip,
Back to Penny.
Back to Penny? Bro, they're just gonna break your nest before you even get a chance to put it down.
Double KO.
I'm not. I can't do Strange. Strange is not working.
Defenses are down. They've almost got it.
Bro, they've almost got
Alright,
it.
maybe I should have gone Gru. I haven't done Gru in no minute.
Bro, I keep
next
pressing
time.
E instead of F. What am I cooking, bro? Oh my god. I don't ban anyone. I'm down to play whoever. Yeah, that's a word, bro. Who's behind us? Magic?
The moon haunts you.
Nowhere yet.
Big ult.
Going to overtime.
I hope so. Oh,
That
okay.
was not big ult. Not big ult.
Oh no.
GG's. Alright, back to Strange, I guess. Is anyone on point? No, she's not on point this game.
Oh. Yeah, okay, White Fox could have been on point, but they didn't have the dash, I guess. Rip, GG's.
What a shitty way to end, bro. I'm off of this. Hey,
You can't always. Oh, we can't win them all.
you gonna keep streaming? Are you done?
I might play a couple more.
Hey, turn up, bro.
Maybe
Play
even a
some ranked.
ranked game. Yeah.
Do it for this stream. I'm gonna bed.
Alright, one ranked
Easy.
game, guys. That's all you get. Get out of here. Do we advance or do we regress? That is the question. I do not have the answer. Rafiki. Okay. They got the Dairy King on their team? Oh shit, bro. We might be cooked. Diamond 2 on our team. What? Why did they get 2 GM2s and we get a freaking Diamond 2, bro?
I am the
Widow.
God of thunder and the mightiest avenger.
One game we skipped 2 bans, but then someone banned Penny in the last one. We lost all our order and then some. Yeah. Are you Zan? Who the fuck is Zan, bro? Who the fuck is Zan, bro? Who the fuck is Zan, bro? Our carry? Yeah, okay. This is an insane aura gamble on their part. We'll see if it pays off. Moon, love you to death, kid. You're a great kid. Okay. Alright, everybody. Sure. Guys, what do you think? You think irreparable aura loss coming in, or what's going on? Make your predictions.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
Alright. I have no idea how this poll works, but I tried to make a poll. Let me know if that worked. Carry on Widow. That's what they're claiming, bro. They're saying this guy Zan, he might be Zan the man, bro. He might be Zan the man in demand.
Round one,
My
go!
brother Loki imperils not just Asgard, but all the
30 seconds before you attack.
Let me hit a...
Get ready.
Stephen, old friend, be mindful that the barrier between realms is most fragile.
What do you think, guys? You think there's an insane aura loss coming up, or
It is always reassuring to have you in Midgard.
The battle starts in 5,
Alright.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Alright, Zan, let's see what you got.
All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Looking at him, bro.
Let heaven and hell hear thy sword. 'Twas but a scratch. Look over there.
You totem out of here, Loki.
Make it low.
I am strengthened.
Okay. How did that not hit anybody? Am I playing like Dookie right now? Am I playing like Dookie Rex? Or am I just getting beamed off? Holy fuck, bro. Oh, he's taking a picture. That's annoying. Ah! I'm dead. I'm dead. Yo, carry on Widow. That's what I was foretold. That's what I was foretold.
What battle can continue without Thor?
What exactly is the plan here? Look at all the plan. Bro, somebody kill this fuck ass Deadpool, bro. No. No, Loki. No. Please. Motion detected? Motion detected.
Born again!
Who that is? Who that is?
Behold the god of thunder! My power grows. Awaken the rage of battle.
Distraction mode. Ah, get me out of here. I died.
Destination.
I don't like that, man. I need hatred for support and swapping.
What battle can
Zan
continue
cake.
without Thor?
Okay, fine.
Am I invisible?
Lightning confinement. The wrath of Asgard.
Shields up.
What's name is 6'6" light skin? Oh shit.
I am strengthened.
Bro, where the fuck is our team? Bro, what? Bro, this Cyclops feller, I don't like him. Holy fuck, bro.
This time I need healing. I feel better already.
Anyone willing to help?
To battle again! What are you aiming at?
Udiki ult on. Bro, we genuinely cannot do it. Oh, hell
lay off
no.
the support things, alright? I'll get to you when I can get to you.
Oh, hell no.
Maybe defeat will humble him.
What he said?
Someday.
I'm ready for my fucking life. I'm getting cooked. Alright, I'll match triple. Yeah, you got it, bro. Fuck now makes sense, yeah.
Thor, Odinson, God of Thunder.
I went to Rocket, so. Am I the problem? I could be, but I choose to believe that I'm not.
Behold the God of Thunder! With a stretch.
Oh, hell no.
Kumiho falls, but the legend shall go on. Born again!
That's not good. This guy jumping on my head top. Oh, fuck. This went.
What battle can
Get that
continue?
vehicle moving again! Only 60 seconds left.
Why do we have an add-on? What is that exactly like? Oh, that's not good. What the fuck, bro? Actually, what the fuck? I don't know what to do.
30 seconds.
My power grows. The wrath of Asgard.
No winner yet. Going to overtime. I am finished.
Oh my god, bro. Bro, where the fuck is this guy? Get the fuck off of me, bro. Oh my goodness gracious. I'm so cooked. Yeah, okay. You know what? It's... Hope is not lost. Hope is not lost.
The current score is 1-2-0.
Okay, okay.
Time to switch things up, including
Okay.
which side you're on.
The Deadpool knows how to bounce on it. Unfortunately, he does. Pansexual king, bro.
Calling a raccoon, huh?
This is the team? This the team? King Beast TJ doesn't wanna... King Beast J? King Beast... What the fuck I'm reading, bro? King Beast J doesn't want to tank anymore, bro? Alright, Zancake T. It's winnable still. It is. Hope is not lost.
Like me.
Anything is possible.
They'll be coming in 30 seconds. Stay strong.
This is a nice spot.
Look at this one. Tommy, come here, baby. Daddy's got belly rub.
Back off, or I'll blast your face so hard they'll find your teeth in another dimension.
The battle starts in 5,
I ain't a dog,
4,
and I
3,
sure as Flark
2,
ain't nobody's
1.
pet. Got it, freak?
You have to stop them from securing the mission area.
After what Alphinax did to me, I'm more than ready for a fight.
You're welcome. Ping the bad guy.
That was like Adam thinking.
Yo, Venom, how am I gonna heal you? How am I gonna heal you? Not real.
Guys.
I'll patch you up.
Guys.
Ping the bad guy. See, I'm Flark and helpful.
Okay. Sorry, if to revive someone? That's not what I want to see.
Thanks for the boost.
You're ready for action. Down goes your accuracy percentage. My good deed for the day. You're welcome.
Bardo.
This is real firepower! Team play, that's me. You're ready for action. Your powers are mine!
Ah, shizer. Bro, what the fuck? Bro, what am I seeing right now? This is like freaking trying to break into like a fucking Mission Impossible, bro. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy boy. Oh, buddy boy. It's so Jover. All that and no killer is wild. Man. I don't know what to tell you.
Double KO.
Things are gonna be different this time.
Hope is not lost, though. Hope is not lost. Hope might be lost a little bit. A little bit of hope might have been lost,
You need
but
to stop that vehicle in its tracks.
it's nothing that we cannot overcome as a team, right?
That was tasty.
See, I don't like how much space we're conceding right now. Oh, hell no. Where the fuck is this ring? But chill on that, bro. Just chill on that.
This is real firepower!
Ah! Somebody help me, for the love of God. Where the fuck is my team? Where the fuck is my team? Venom! I can't run on this wall. Oh my god. Oh my god. Venom live. Oh, I'm so sorry. I might have sold that. I can't lie. I just needed to live. We're gonna pretend like that.
Battlefield ready again.
Who the fuck is Code Mingus, bro?
1, 2, 2.
Who the fuck is Code Mingus, bro? Y'all see the number that I see, bro? What is it? Oh. I thought I was playing like ass. What was this, bro? Bro, how did 3 people on this team have 1 final hit? What is this? Bro, this is a generational aura loss, bro. Bruh. Bruh. That's actually crazy. I'm genuinely at like a loss for words, bro. Like, I did more damage than him. I had 3 final hits. Generational aura loss, bro. That is crazy. That's crazy. Do we keep going? Do we do one more? If I do one more and I lose, I'm gonna be like a negative. Time is it? 1:43. How long have I been streaming for? Alright, one more. One more it is. You convinced me. I've been convinced. Now we know why they hid their names? Yeah. I love men 69, 69, 69. That's what we like to see.
Which hero do you think you want to be today?
I am the god of thunder and the mightiest avenger.
Now, who am I gonna banish from this match?
Okay. Who do we want to ban from this match? Sure, bro. Gambit first pick? Damn, they banned our Invis? Yo, let's hope that Zan motherfucker's on the other team and that he gets cooked. That is all I can hope for. That's all that I can hope for. Okay. They banned Penny? Okay. Alright.
The right heroes could make all the difference.
Okay. Okay. Look at us teaming up. Look at us doing the team up thing. So why are we not doing the team up thing?
Round one.
Though I be a god, I would rather inspire mortals than be worshipped.
They'll be coming in 30 seconds. Stay strong.
What do we think, guys? I might be cooked in this match. I might have to agree. With the best soundtrack in the game. This shit's peaceful though. It's soothing. And then when it gets intense, it's like crazy.
Starts in 5, 4, 3, 2.
These guys hiding in the shadows, bro.
You have to stop them from securing the mission area.
Some uninvited follow my lead.
I am barely wounded.
Okay.
Slow down.
Whoa there, boy. Don't go there, boy. What was Luna trying to do? That's a great question, bro. I guess we'll never know. Your W Iron Fist heals. Okay. Okay. You're diving for him. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm dead.
Almost bowed out.
The lightning of Asgard returns.
Hold it down. Hold it down.
You think I'm afraid of being hurt?
I suck.
Oh man.
Shielded from harm. My power grows.
Double kill.
You have need of my strength.
The enemy has arrived.
I wield the power of Asgard. I am barely wounded. Behold the god of thunder!
Yeah, that did no thing at all, actually. I do not need that. I do not need that.
I am ready to put on a show.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man.
I'm opening a portal.
I don't think you're gonna make it, buddy. Oh, we're gonna make it, bro. Oh, we didn't make it, bro. Get me the fuck out of here. Get me the fuck out of here, bro. Holy fuck, what was that? Genuinely? Who just fell off the map?
To battle again!
Okay. So clearly it's a DPS guy, right?
The wrath of Asgard!
What the fuck are we doing, bro? Yeah, animated magic? Dangerous. Get me out of here. Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O, that's like a bad combo for me. I'm trying to be like that, you just gotta grind, bro, that's it. That's it. Did we co-op time? We did? Are we still getting cooked? We are. Finally, bro. Somebody give me something, bro. I can't do anything. Where's my team? How is my Iron Fist 2 and 3? Fight back, bro.
There's still a chance to stop them.
Bro, who made me play this game? His name is Ileana's Rose, bro. That's how you know it's over, dude.
Awaken the rage of battle! Behold the god!
Bro.
Behold the god of thunder!
Oh, are you fucking for real, bro? No, dude. No, dude.
That was simple.
They hit a checkpoint. Now my
It's so over, man.
Battle again!
It's quite genuinely over. Can you stop feeding this individual? Why are you gonna make it a 2v1, bro? I thought we were having a fair fight.
can continue without Thor.
What can you do when your
It's now or
DPS
never.
suck?
Stop them.
What
Better
can you
stop them
do
now.
when your doesn't luck? Genuinely, bro. What can I do? Yeah, nighttime rank game. Yeah, exactly what's happening.
Shielded from harm.
He went to triple support because he's fucking 2 and 6, bro, or whatever the fuck he was, bro. 5 and 6. Get this fuck ass wall out of my face, bro. Oh my god, oh my god. Yeah, it might have to be a daytime flex, bro.
What battle can continue without
So low-key,
I'm ready to put on a show.
never mind, I was about to see if we could hold this for 40 seconds, but you see what's on the docket. Gimme. Oh, the fucking... Okay, that's okay. Press F, you fucker. Calm. Be calm.
Stop them in their tracks. The final 10 seconds.
the wrath of Asgard.
No winner yet. Going to overtime.
Bro, how many bubbles do you fucking have? Jesus Christ, bro.
The current
Blocked
score
by the
is
thing on the ult?
2.
The pay thing.
Time to switch things up, including
I
which
think.
side you're on. You'll need a top-notch team
What's
to
that
win
mean?
this one.
I am
That
the
word
god
is.
of thunder and the mightiest avenger.
Oh, the railing. Oh, that's what you're talking about. Yeah, the arc. Yeah. It couldn't go down fast enough, unfortunately. It is what it is. We cleaned up.
Round 2.
I was exiled
Anything is
from
possible.
Asgard as a
Just remember
youth.
that.
Now I would lay down
Just
my
remember
life
that
to save
anything
it.
is possible.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
I was honored to receive your invitation to the Hellfire Gala, Emma.
Remember, it is a formal affair, Namor. Shall I assume you'll be wearing a shirt?
If that is what is expected of me, of course.
How disappointing.
The battle starts in 5.
3Bs2 just gotta get there.
3, 2, 1.
That's big math.
All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Unfortunately, I was getting outdoored.
Mjolnir.
Now they have a
Heaven
brute.
and hell, hear thy soar.
We've been discovered.
Okay.
My power grows.
Still have an Emma, huh?
Wrath of Asgard.
Holy fuck, bro. Jesus Christ. On a bike. Ow. Oh, there's a No. 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 Oh my fucking god, bro.
got you.
Mental
The lightning of Asgard returns. The battle fury burns.
Why does nobody break these walls? Bro, you know what? We got it. Nobody's worried about it. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Nobody's worried about it. This is how we make space. This is how we make space. This is how we make space. This is how we get it. You know what? We'll count that as a distraction at least. This is the furthest we've been all game. Oh, don't tell me we're pushing back.
God of thunder.
We lost one, but we could get one, right?
Awaken the rage of battle.
Armed and dangerous.
I am barely wounded.
This is real firepower.
No. No. What the fuck? They're right next to each other, bro. We're talking about a surrender, bro? No way, man. I came too far. You know what? Maybe it might be time to surrender, bro. Fuck.
I am strengthened. My power grows. The lightning of Asgard returns.
I think the problem is that our triple support is not even as good as our double support. Like, bro, please the walls, please the walls. Oh my god. Bro, can we get a scroll? Bro, can we get a fucking play? It's over. Fuck it. No point of even wasting everybody's time here.
Armed and dangerous.
Pentagram.
Final 10 seconds.
Out, dark magic.
Nowhere yet. Going to overtime.
I tried my best. We'll say that much.
This is real fire.
Final score 0-2-2.
Oh well. That's why we don't play this game.
Well, you can't expect them all.
What are we even doing here, bro? Bro, at this rate I might be dying by fucking right now. Minus 19. Sure, I'll take it. Alright, well. That's it. End the stream right there. Bye-bye.